Bye, Gabe.
Okay, see you. So this is the Billy Weekly 225th Deathmatch. The finals are between Blockmonoid and thwol. And let's see if they're ready to start. Both of these are really strong players. Excited to see a match between them. Hopefully it's a good one. Okay, and we have the first move. So that is oars for block and sailing for TH. So both of those are destabilizing fast starts. Sailing threatens to immediately overwhelm with clothing, with pottery, with just digging through until you get those high value cards. And with oars on the board, thwol won't be able to fill his hand, at least not as long as block has those castles. So block starts by digging, so whatever else is in there is not something nice. And thwol does indeed start looking with sailing and immediately establishes dominance in castles. So now if I'm block, I'm a little nervous because now if you sail again and you get clothing, then you're right away, okay, right. And so block defends against that with pottery, and of course pottery is a nice thing to have anyway. And now you can go digging, and while you're digging, score points. So now thwol isn't going to get pottery here, so still has to wonder where clothing is. Well, with a mysticism play, not really very vulnerable to clothing. So that was Dogma of Domestication to meld mysticism and draw that one. And so now thwol is got to be thinking, okay, I'm not really vulnerable to clothing. I'm not vulnerable to oars at the moment, but block has pottery on board, so block will be able to do some rapid scoring. So what am I going to do to stop that or race him? And so that mysticism, as opposed to a domestication, meant that whatever that other one is something that thwol didn't want to play. And now block shares pottery. thwol does return a one to keep pace. With agriculture now, block has to be a little bit more careful about yielding the one achievement to thwol. Okay, and melds city states. Could use that to grab mysticism or archery if he wants. Also just establishes dominance of crowns. Not sure I understand what block is going for with that immediately, but maybe defending against clothing on his end. Okay, and thwol did have clothing, and so that was the principle there. Okay, so now block is going to need to do some more serious defense against clothing, and will not be achieving the one. thwol looks like he'll be getting the one. So if block doesn't have yellow or green in hand, doesn't have the wheel or masonry, then yeah, this is the move that I would have expected. It does share a little bit with thwol, but that's fine because you really want to be digging for a green or a yellow here. Okay, and the fact that he's not snap playing tells me probably either didn't get a green or a yellow, or got two greens or two yellows, or a green and a yellow there. Because it's really bad to let thwol have the rest of the twos. So, ooh, yeah, that's not great. So if I'm thwol here, I am just going to clothing and take it from there. Oh, I guess you have to achieve, because otherwise block can achieve the one. So achieve and then score 2-2s. That's still fairly dominant early game position. Yeah, I would be surprised to not see an achieve here. Okay. And so block is still in the same position that he was in on the last round. Really needs to get okay. So road building is another option to attack clothing there, depending on what those twos are. I wouldn't necessarily want to give construction, but I guess if there's no red and you have to transfer road building, it's fine. Oh, or I guess maybe it's even okay to leave clothing. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure I would want to do that. Um, I think it's fine to leave thwol clothing, but um, it's not really useful to block. And now a thwol has road building, which is super active. What did block cover up there? Currency. Yeah, I guess currency is not really particularly useful at the moment without more cards in hand. So thwol now is thinking, how am I going to get the two, and how am I going to position myself for the future? With block sort of running behind, he may try to use mathematics to destabilize things, and so thwol wants to be ready against that if that's what happens, and road building helps with that. Other options, I suppose, would be sailing. I wouldn't want to do sailing. You could use writing to share. I wouldn't want to give block that easy access to a three. Um, I think I don't see a move I would want on this board from thwol other than a draw, and then evaluate depending on what the result of that draw is. Maybe a couple of draws so that you could use road building if that becomes necessary. You want to be able to respond rapidly if mathematics leads to something unpleasant. Yeah, monotheism doesn't seem okay. So he is willing to um, share that writing draw, not afraid of block being able to get to a four with his first action by dogmaing mathematics, just to get a better look at some more threes. And thwol probably has both the two and the three achievement locked. Um, so with that kind of fast start in achievements, he could be starting to think about how do I race to make this as quick a game as possible? How do I race to the six? Not worry about high things, not worry about the special achievements. Of course, mathematics complicates that, but that's probably what I'd be thinking in this position. Is there a chance that I can just run the board 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? I'm block. What am I thinking about doing? So city states is online if you really want it to probably take monotheism, but even with that, mysticism is underneath there. So ors won't come online even if you do that. So thwol is not particularly vulnerable to ors at the minute, but probably not a great idea for him to use sailing if he gets crowns in hand, because you never know what that is going to cover up. I mean, wouldn't be immediately vulnerable with um, only the three castles, but I don't remember whether we know what is in hand there for block. So what is thwol thinking about? Probably whether to meld one of the threes that was just drawn or draw or use writing again. I think at this point with block having a 3 in hand, I wouldn't draw. I would use writing because uh, that will help burn through the threes faster, getting to the fours to to try to keep pace with block's mathematics if he chooses to use it. But depending on what he has. I'm trying to think of anything that I would want to meld over what is currently there. I don't think that there's a 3 I would rather meld at this point. Well, I guess for thwol there was a 3 that he'd want to meld. Paper gives him access to fours directly and gives him more light bulbs so that he can share mathematics for longer if he so desires. So block Dogma's mathematics. I think that's a reasonable move. thwol already has access to the fours via paper. And mathematics is covered over. thwol has to be happy about that. Experimentation is not a great card to see there, but because it would be shared with thwol, it's sort of toothless. Like block does not want to give thwol a 5. So that was a little unfortunate, probably from block's point of view. Okay, but he's just running for it. Um, now now with the pirate code coming up there, like that is going to attack thwol's score pile very quickly if he's not careful. Can use road building to cover it over temporarily, but with 2 cards in block's hand, that won't necessarily be particularly effective. Might need to immediately achieve the 2 if he wants to achieve the 2. A little dangerous to not do that soon. But since the agriculture was covered up, he now has no way to score. Ooh, bad for Thomas. So now with that experimentation, as I sort of look through the ramifications, block is in a much stronger position than he was before doing that. thwol doesn't have a leaf lead, and so I can't even threaten to use statistics at this point. Um, paper is not very useful anymore now that they're both in the 5s. Doesn't have enough cards in hand to use road building. Writing wouldn't be shared. It's worse than just drawing. I think this is one of these. Yeah, well, I guess paper does give another leaf, and so now that does bring statistics online should he so desire. What do we have? More leaves and a single crown if he chose to splay. But yeah, that's not probably not good enough with only 3 ones going into block's hand. So now if I'm block, I probably probably want to pirate code. That clothing isn't doing anything for me. I'm behind in leaves already, and that gives me, yeah, there we go, a very good shot at being the one to achieve the 2. And so now the tenor of the game is completely shifted. Rather than thwol running away with 1, 2, 3 and thinking about a rapid end, now it looks fairly likely that block will be able to get the 2 and 3 based on the current board state, at least. So thwol taking his time, deciding which cards to transfer with the pirate code. Maybe there's some translation angle here. Like, can I afford to give 2 2s? Don't think I see another reason to hesitate about this choice. Maybe thinking about using statistics and putting 2s directly into block's hand and wanting to make sure that they're not going to be painful. Okay, 2 2s gives 2 2s. On block, I might just do that again. Currency is also pretty good at this point, but you still have currency online after scoring city states. Okay, giving both of the 2s perhaps, and then could be attacking with statistics, putting them all in block's hand, or just giving up on that and letting him achieve the 2 and going about building a stronger board state to establish better control of the middle game. Either one would work. Using statistics twice would be a little dangerous, like getting that many cards into block's hand, but would prevent him from achieving the 2, at least in the immediate term. I guess that's a terrible move actually, because with currency on the board, he's just going to be able to do a bunch of scoring and build back up, and it's going to build back up in a way that is going to be even harder to attack with statistics. So, okay, well, he's at least doing it once. That's not as bad as doing it twice, because those 1s in there, then he's going to replace them with something better than 1s. Already had 2s in hand, so currency is no better for him after a single use of statistics. But yeah, I would not use statistics again. We don't know what is in thwol's hand, but road building would also be an option. Get rid of the pirate code, steal currency. Problem is, it can be taken back unless you have a red card in hand. And depending on what that red card is, like, you probably don't want to give gunpowder if that 4 is gunpowder, for instance. Or, God forbid, coal. So the second action, what are we thinking? If you don't attack the score with statistics, then a single use of currency is going to give enough points to achieve the 2 for block. So either have to do that sort of like very painful use of statistics, not very productive use of statistics, or allow block to achieve the 2. Probably, if it were me, I would allow block to achieve the 2. It's too hard to prevent at this point. You're just helping him. I guess there's also the possibility that thwol has machinery in hand. If he has machinery in hand, then giving block a big hand isn't anywhere near as bad, especially with that leaf lead. Looking at the rest of his actions, paper is no better than drawing unless you're specifically looking for a particular three. Monotheism is not particularly useful. Tucking a single card is not very nice right now. Writing is worse than drawing. Okay, so he does choose road building. Interesting. So it's the sort of like tempo attack where now block will need to use an action to road build back if he wants to get the score necessary to achieve the two, which presumably he does. All things being equal. I guess there's a question, if he has construction in hand, do you give thwol construction and let him get the special achievement from that, let him get empire in order to keep road building? It's not a totally unreasonable play. It's likely that the pirate code has served its purpose, but without the pirate code, be behind on crowns if you do that. With the pirate code, what would it be? 4-4, 4-3? Yeah, 4-3. So but then you have to give road building back, which probably is not the most palatable. Although thwol only has one card in hand now, so maybe giving road building back isn't quite so bad. Yeah. So I thought block was in a good position, but now with this board state, thwol, it does have a lot more board presence, a lot better looking at a tableau. Block does have the dynamism of experimentation, which should provide for tempo plays if we get up to the higher level achievements, but that is only going to matter probably a little later. I mean, you can use it now, but it's probably, in my mind, better to do other things, achieve the two, achieve the three, achieve the four, etc., and then hope that it's still around in time to win the race to the six. Yeah, I think if it's me, I road build, give road building back, sadly, and then currency to I guess it depends on what that 5 is, but I was going to say currency to get enough score to put myself in the right position to achieve the two next time. You don't want it to get back into that state that I thought it was in at first, where thwol gets the 1, 2, 3, and now is just looking at running the board. So you want to, if you're block, if I'm block with behind on board, I want to at least even myself up on achievements. He does have machinery. Well, now definitely want to meld 2 2s and then currency a 2 and a 5, so that that machinery is mostly toothless. So block comments. Why did I have a sick feeling that was your 3? I don't know that it's that bad. It just sort of changes the tenor of what you have to do. I think it's nice to cover up the 5 there. 3 yellows was not exactly ideal, says thwol. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it would have been nice to cover up monotheism. I would probably want to cover up archery at this point, cover up writing. But this, I think this should be good for block, all told. If he melds two twos, establishes some more board presence, especially if he has a yellow in there, a purple in there. Um, maybe he has, more light bulbs, let's say, or more crowns, and then trade back, and then use currency to dump some more of those cards in hand. That's what it looks like to me. Okay, but he melds the five instead of melding the the two. Oh, that's fine because he's going to be drawing a five for sharing anyway, so he can return that one. And so I would definitely do this trade at this point. And then you can use currency and return all of the cards so that you're not vulnerable. Okay, he doesn't do that. Interesting. Well, that is very different than what I would have done. Yeah, I would not want to leave a big bunch of cards in my hands for thwol to take. I guess if they're sort of like inert twos, it's not so bad. But now you have to do something with that five. I guess you could road build again depending on what you got. So it could have been just like a waiting move to see what that five was. But yeah, I think I would have traded and then did the currency. I tend toward the score rush. So I think both of these two competitors have a more balanced play style than I do. So okay, and he does road build again, and this time he doesn't have to take currency. Wow. Really worried about these leads. Covers over experimentation. I would not cover experimentation. I like the ability to do those tempo plays, both um, to race for an achievement and also as an attack if my opponent gets too good on board with more light bulbs. Okay, and then with that map making play, it really looks like this is inviting that trade. Um, Little dangerous to give road building back, but you kind of, I don't know, I would want to. Okay, and so I guess the calendar move was so that they are tied on leaves and thwol can't immediately use machinery at all. So that's reasonable. It's another defense against this. I think I would have taken the other attack, but this is also very reasonable. Lets you keep more resources in hand, and you'll have some idea if you're block of what thwol is planning by what he does with these moves. If he draws and melds, or if he draws twice, you can tailor your response to that. You're still you still have currency available. You're guaranteed to still have currency available if you want to achieve on your next turn. So I think it's fine. You do lose that ability to handle the tempo. Interesting. So I don't know. So thwol, I guess, wanted to draw a card and get information. I'm not sure about the like display doesn't matter. You don't get very much information that way, though, if he does have something with castles in his hand, which you had to imagine he probably did. Oh, I see. It was so that you could splay the red cards in order to draw more with paper. That's reasonable. I mean, I would rather be drawing fours. Oh, he lost his. I see. I see. I lost track of his tech level and didn't realize that he had dropped to tech level three. So, yeah, that's definitely definitely want to climb back up to the tech level with blocks sitting at five. Oh yeah, that really does change things. But now you have to be worried about, did he get reformation or something? If you're blocked, did Thomas get reformation? So I want to get rid of that five from my hand. Probably if I'm blocked at this point, I do use currency ahead on crowns. Okay, and he does return them both and then achieve. So I'm sort of thinking about Block's future moves because Block wants to be the one racing for achievements. Um, if thwol doesn't have a particularly impressive turn, you can ferment. Okay, that gives thwol some cards, but ferment and then currency, and probably that will end up with a pretty good currency. Right now, it would be a 3 and a 5, but depending on what happens here, it could be a 3, a 4, and a 5. If you're thwol, you that's if I'm thwol, that's what I'm worried about. Maybe a road building to prevent that. It's not really that pleasant with that fermenting there to draw cards in large quantities, and then the 5s there to sort of race up the tech scale. If Block gets coal, that's gonna be unpleasant. So you may want to wait on road building for when you really need it because the pirate code is not really doing anything anymore. But yeah, momentum has shifted back, and Block definitely looks like he is in a more dominant position at this point, despite that lead on board that thwol has. Having 9 castles is not particularly useful. I probably, if I'm thwol, I want to cover up some of those castles with more useful symbols. Take a firm lead in leaves. Contest crowns. Get some cards with factories as their primary on the tableau. So I guess if I have to guess, either a meld, um, could be a meld with road building, um, or paper again. Yeah, it was the other option if the things to meld aren't very good. And now I feel like you've got to probably road build. Like even if it's not ideal, you can't just sit around and wait. I guess you could paper again if you've got something specific in your hand that you want to use that with Reformation or I don't know what in the future. But should he want to cash in, Block has the ability here um, to pirate code. You have to score currency, but that would be enough for the 3. Probably not the play I would make. Only 3 points and lose currency. Map making is not useful underneath there once you've done that. But anyway, that is an option. Faster than what I had suggested, the fermenting and currency, and less immediately dangerous because it doesn't put cards in thwol's hand. So from thwol's perspective, yeah, I mean you gotta start contesting again. Right now, there's like no pressure being put on Block, and he can just equalize board and symbols. So either this action or next action, if you're thwol, you better start doing something. That's how I see it. I guess there's another version of what I was suggesting that has less sharing, where you draw cards with calendar, but you're only getting 3s. It's not very good for currency. Okay, and thwol does choose road building, presumably to meld 2. Will he trade back? Take currency. I feel like I would want to keep road building in most cases. Paper is not so great anymore. I mean, you've been using it to draw, but I feel like you'd rather have the five and be able to get back into the higher tech level. But giving up road building is a little painful. Interesting that he's pausing here because I would think that you don't dogma road building unless you know what you're going to do. Okay, enterprise and printing press. So that does allow him to contest crowns, although not take the lead now. More importantly, he can now printing press to um, to jump in tech levels to the sixes. And a clear lead on light bulbs, so no real risk of sharing that. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, road building is a more active card. Like pirate code is like basically useless right now for blockmonoid, and currency you need more cards in hand to effectively use. But this is a very tense setup with both players having six crowns, a lot of crown top cards, and both of them having demands that attack each other's tableau that are crown based. It's a dangerous play to put putting press there because maybe block gets more crowns and steals it with societies. It would take a little while for that to happen. You give paper first, but I guess thwol is basically guaranteed to make it to the sixes before that happens. Not vulnerable to that last card disappearing from his score pile from the pirate code until block plays another card, and not vulnerable to societies until block plays another card. So now what does block want to do? Um, I guess a couple of options are, race for the three, and there's multiple ways to do that, but I would not the one that I would have chosen, but I think adequate. So what is he looking for? Not medicine. Mm, I don't know. Compass? Like, I guess it's nice to take machinery, but you still need more crowns to do that. Alchemy is not very useful. Translation, maybe to take the lead there, or just more cards in hand. Now I think fermenting would be very nice and set you up really nicely for currency next turn. If he sets himself up well enough, then he'll be able to achieve monument with currency. That's always a really nice, you get this huge score and at the same time get a special achievement. I guess he wouldn't quite have enough of the higher ones. Probably short by 1.5 if he uses fermenting now. If he double fermented, then I think maybe it would have been too many fives in that case. Okay, just going to set himself up to achieve the three with a minimal one card currency. thwol chooses not to, only going to be using printing press once, I guess, at least in the short term. No sharing bonus, but block is now set up to achieve the three, and doesn't really look like there's any way for thwol to stop it at the moment. I guess he can imagine him playing anatomy. Doesn't really seem like a very effective way to stop it. Block can just use currency again and achieve the three if thwol were to do that. So at this point, I feel like gun for the sixes I guess it depends on what's in hand, but I can't offhand think of anything that I would um, really love at, at this point. I guess there's some danger that you get something that is vulnerable to societies and then can't play it. You get atomic theory and then you can't play it because you lose the crown lead. Unpleasant, unpleasant prospect. I feel like if I'm thwol, I take that risk. The upside is pretty big, and otherwise you're just giving block time to equalize on board, pull ahead in achievements. I guess you could keep drawing with paper and hope to find something to break the tie, and that is what he chooses. And he already breaks the tie just by juggling paper one. So he could now start enterprising. Paper has served its purpose. If he takes the pirate code, that'll be a nice way to reverse this momentum. Currency it'll also be nice to have. So sort of doesn't really matter what he gets from enterprise, but then block gets to meld a five. Maybe it's coal. A little dangerous to think about doing that. I guess now you could do printing press. You got a little bit less vulnerability to societies in the immediate term, and probably with all those fours in hand, you have other ways that you can increase your crown load in the future. Could paper again, um, like really fill that hand, and then enterprising for currency becomes very dangerous. And block is going to achieve the three, but isn't really putting a lot of pressure on in terms of ability to achieve the four immediately. It wouldn't be next turn. I guess it could be the turn after that, depending on how things go. Something like achieve and then draw some cards in a way that lets you currency and achieve on the following turn. So dropping down to take a look at thwol's score and achievements. So now fermenting would also be like even nicer than it was previously. You get a three and two fives if you're three fives if you're one for sharing if you're blockmonoid, and then you're set up very nicely to use currency. That's another angle of approach. So yeah, I don't know if I'm teachable. I guess what I'm thinking about at this point is, can I afford to let him blow up like that in terms of score, but and jump up to tech level 6? And no, that's not the approach he's taking. Wants to establish more control. Gunpowder and colonialism. And give him colonialism. And now um, some kind of threat to attack map making and fermenting and get back into this in terms of score. Pirate code is covered. Currency is now on thwol's board. So I feel like block has to just accept that at this point probably, and achieve the three before thwol does. Doesn't have to do it right this second. Thwol is not threatening. Doesn't look like to achieve the three next turn, but this turn or next probably going to have to achieve the three. And I think you don't want to mess around and then find out that thwol has anatomy and attacks with anatomy, and you don't even get the three. So I probably achieve the three this round. Behind in crowns, behind in leaves, behind in light bulbs, behind in castles, behind in everything. So that's not a great place to be in. Yeah, that was a nice move by thwol. Nice way to defang any progress. Fermenting still gives block more cards because the sharing bonus. Calendar wouldn't be shared because thwol has such a small score, but I don't know how much those threes are important. Okay, so wants to disrupt by drawing the higher things, looking for coal perhaps, or astronomy maybe. Okay, and he does find coal. And so now he's threatening, he's not vulnerable to gunpowder anymore. thwol doesn't have anything that's going to help him take the lead in factories immediately. And so now Block, with that fairly lucky draw, is threatening to achieve the three, and then set himself up to achieve the four the next round, and set himself up to achieve the five the following round. So that is I think a game changer, having coal there, and this is something that thwol is going to have to respond. Okay, and he does take the more risky, more desperate move, probably sort of seeing that threat the same way that I did. Thinking about whether to splay or not, whether it's okay to give up the crown. Probably it's fine. Crown for the light bulb. Doesn't do it. Okay. Not sure about that, but probably marginal. Let's see, did he draw a six that he is willing to dogma? If not, that's a little bit painful. It's going to give, my heart is bleeding, he says. He got one he doesn't like. Yeah, I think now if he can't play that six, that's not great. Like, is he even threatening anything? He's nowhere near being able to achieve the four. Enterprise isn't very useful right now. Only map making is vulnerable to it. I mean, I guess he could use that, but it's gonna be so slow with all those ones. It's just gonna take a long time. All those ones are attractive, but it's just not fast enough with coal there. Yeah, gunpowder is not able to do anything. Currency is fine, but again, not fast enough. Oh, it's invention. I see. Maybe that's why he didn't splay printing press. It feels very passive to me. I guess it's like, oh, I see. It's equalizing at least on factories. I mean, I think that's not good enough. I think that's even better if I'm Block. Like, okay, fine, I achieve and dogma coal anyway. I can't, like, the only thing that thwol could get that is worth anything to him that he could like expose via Cole is physics, and that's so risky. Not really something that that is thwol's typical style to dogma. So I feel like it's fairly low risk to dogma Cole here and achieve and set yourself up really nicely to achieve the 4 next turn. How much is thwol threatening to score with? Oh, he covered over currency, so not threatening to score anything there. Not threatening any score at all. Yeah, I feel like block is set up nicely to get some of those achievements. Although, okay, so being behind on all of the symbols, like, okay, great, I got the 4 5 6, 3 4 5 6. Then do I stall out and with 5 achievements and then let thwol control the rest of the game from the high tech levels? So I do understand the need to have a plan to exit the game and not just you know pull ahead in the middle game, then run out of steam. Would look really different if block also had the 1. Then you can sort of run for the 6, but running for the 7 a little harder. And with this little pressure, block doesn't even have to achieve the 3 right now. Could Cole see what happens and then evaluate based on what you get in the share. Any other ideas? Map making isn't any good. Okay. Not what I would have done, but it's fine. What is he looking for in the 3s? That I guess now that currency is gone. Yeah, neither of those are exactly what I would have done because thwol is not threatening any sort of score. Um, and those 3s, I can't think of what you're looking for there that's any good. Optics, it doesn't seem worth it. Education? I don't know that I want to cover up societies at this point. But teachable, wow, this is like such a passive board right now. I guess you could invention and then printing press again if you like need to not play whatever 6 you have. Invention twice, at least put a little bit of pressure on the score. I mean, this doesn't look great if that 6 is unplayable. I mean, hopefully for thwol, that 6 is just something that's playable and he just didn't want to play it then, vaccination or something. Vaccination could be good. Industrialization could be good. Comic theory. Democracy might be too slow. Yeah, probably only those 3 are reasonable. Okay, so he does invention. And we'll see, like, was that 6 bad by whether um, he then immediately uses printing press. I mean, it's not getting that much pressure if he uses invention again. Doesn't look good at this point for thwol, but I guess he's thinking like a little further ahead because okay, does draw another 6. So that 6 was bad. Still probably going to pass on splitting the blue cards right, since invention gives us built-in score opportunity. Yeah. Okay, and so now what is block looking at? I feel like you gotta lock in some of these middle level achievements while the getting is good. Okay, you share coal. So what? It's not the end of the world. helps you get to the sixes faster. Fine, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Okay. And it is physics, sort of the only one that like is not really inert for THL at this point. But I don't know if he wants to score printing press there. It sort of gives him this opportunity to jump up in tech levels if he gets democracy or um, the other purple six. Probably not going to sway red cards right. Doesn't really need to. One more light bulb is not really useful. Doesn't really need any more castles at this point. Imagine he'll skip that. And then if I'm THL, am I gonna score? Probably not printing press. You want to keep that there. I guess not gunpowder. You want to keep those factories. What is the bottom? What is the bottom purple there? This isn't yuck. Okay, so he gives up the that lead. Okay, but it's reasonable because it gives him a good opportunity to achieve with perspective. And so now that's actually some pressure on this score. He can score 20 and achieve the five, beat bluff to the five. Okay. Yeah, I guess I didn't think that through fully. Didn't see that line. Mm-hmm. And THL, you better, just snap perspective. Hard for me to imagine any other move being reasonable here. Like, don't want to let Block get a 4-1 lead in achievements. 3-2 looks much better, and with that fairly dominant tableau state, being behind by one achievement isn't so bad. Ooh, mathematics came back out. Didn't notice that at first. Mathematics a little dangerous to use with Enterprise out and THL having that crown lead. What's under map making? Like, can THL get a hold of mathematics should he want? No, it's a little bit harder. Banking first. Yeah, it's a little slow. I think you gotta right. I guess that's like a lot of cards you're giving up. Doing it that way with perspective to score 20, and then you're not even set up to achieve the six because you don't have the tech level. A little dangerous. What are the other options? I can't imagine you on a printing press again. Yeah, I feel like that's the play. I guess you could double Enterprise, or they probably have enough information to know mostly what that five is. I haven't been paying close enough attention. What have we seen? We haven't seen chemistry. What's the other five? One of the green fives, maybe we haven't seen. We've seen, yeah, there's banking, the other green five. And we saw statistics, right? Yeah. And astronomy. Yeah, I would not want to give Block chemistry right now. Probably wouldn't want to give Block astronomy right now. I mean, even though THL has the lead in light bulbs, still never pleasant to do that. Yeah, I mean, unless there's more information that PHL has that I don't have, knows that that's not chemistry. That doesn't seem like very nice thing, very nice play. So then, I'm not sure But he has a lot of other options unless he's really willing to go down 4-1. Yeah, I think it's justified in the situation. Um, Block has good scoring prospects, has mathematics up, but it'll take a little while to be ready to achieve the six. So probably gives thwol a little bit of time to start enterprising or something afterward. I guess then there's a question of sequencing. Do you give a 5 now or a 6 later? You could just give up on the 5 and enterprise, and then presumably you get map making, and then use map making and start building a score that way. It's still going to be very slow. First one is 2, then 4, then 6, then 7. It's going to take a long time to reach parity. By then, I imagine that Block would have the 6 achievement. Hmm. Yeah, I feel like with the nice splays and all the cards in Tableau, you just gotta like get that achievement, take the hit, maybe give up on the 6 as well, but by that time, establish better top cards and be back in it with halfway through the middle game. But I guess maybe depending on what thwol has in hand, he has other ideas. It does seem like um, Block is immediately in the better position. Sorry, it's really hard, he says. Maybe in the post game we can talk about what the difficulty of the decision is. I do think that thwol is in a difficult state, but I don't know that there's like a lot of choices here if he wants to have wow. Wow. Ah, so I have been making a mistake this entire time because I thought he had a 5 melded. Yeah. So I didn't realize. I've been doing commentary the last 10 minutes as if thwol had 5. Well, that's embarrassing, but it is what it is. Interesting. So, what is this about? Is this about achieving the 6? Aiming to achieve the 6? That's wild to me. Not what I would imagine doing. Encyclopedia is very interesting. Yeah, I don't understand. To read, not to meld their printing press. Is that a mistake? A mouse slip? I mean, it's a very strange move. Hmm. Yeah, interesting. Well, now you know, Block has that opportunity. I guess now is he still threatening? He is still threatening because he would be able to score 14. But no, 14 isn't enough. He's not even threatening. But yeah, I mean, no reason to delay. But what's he gonna score? What did you just get? Classification? Measurement. Oh yeah, no. I just saw green. Um, Interesting. Yeah, societies, he was not going to have the crown lead anytime soon. But yeah, now not so well set up for achieving the six. Not going to be next turn unless he gets lucky, gets a blue, which we've already seen in Encyclopedia. So only one blue left in the sixes, or a purple. So, but I guess THL's not really putting much pressure on. That perspective is scary, but I guess if he melds his whole hand, it's still not enough. He maybe has to draw another one, and then is it enough? 26 and 8, yeah, that would be enough. But no, he doesn't have enough. Then he doesn't have enough. Oh, huh. I guess this will put pressure on. Yeah, this will put pressure on. Like he can't achieve the six this turn, of course. But if he does that again, let's say, then he's got 20, and then with perspective, it would definitely be enough to achieve the six. And then I don't know, does Block like take that risk? Use Cole again, even though um even though he's only got about a half chance of being able to achieve, and it might involve getting rid of mathematics. I guess that's like a real nail in the coffin if you can get to 5 achievements. Do you take a half shot at that, or do you draw a six and then I guess you still need to score, so you probably will end up drawing a six no matter what you do. I guess there's a question of sequencing. It's a little dangerous to get yourself to cool yourself down this far. And Block is thinking of the same thing. How lucky will I be? So he is gonna looks like um, spin the wheel with Cole. I guess he could be talking about mathematics, but I don't think so. Oh, and he did get lucky. That's probably the best option, best thing he could have gotten, because it's more factories, and it doesn't involve having to burn away mathematics. Yeah, that's excellent for Block, and it looks like Block is in a fairly dominant position. I probably do those greens. Pirate code is not really useful. That's not quite enough to threaten the seven, but almost. Yeah, yeah. This is going to be like very difficult for THL to climb back in this at this point with that lucky roll. So I think that's like that was like lucky, but uh you know kind of lucky, right? Like it was like a half chance of getting one of the three that he needed roughly. Whereas that coal draw, that really is what turned this around, I feel like. I guess before that, the pirate code, both of those were really useful for Block. He's still deciding what to score. I think it's pretty obvious to do map making. Oh, is he thinking about maybe scoring coal and colonialism? Yeah, I guess that is better. That then puts him at 35. So unless THL can attack his score, THL could be sitting on vaccination. Okay, and that is what he does. And he achieves the six. I might have achieved the seven. Probably not, because then you're giving THL the six. Yeah, it was my mistake. Okay, so yeah, what is THL gonna do? He's like got a turn and a half. Block has mathematics on board, is got 35 points in score, 5 achievements. It was a very, very dire position, and amazing performance by Block. Of course, there were those 2 spots of luck, but from like at the beginning, it really looked like thwol had a chance to run all the way up, and it really turned into exactly the opposite of that. A couple of mysterious moves that I'd like to hear more about the idea behind from thwol. So what are his chances? Depending on what those 6s are, you could imagine using the encyclopedia. Maybe it's encyclopedia and then you've got vaccination there. Maybe you have vaccination in hand. I feel like without vaccination, what's the other option? It's not really very likely that you can win this race to the 7s. You need 15 score. I guess you can get 15 score from one use of perspective. Um, 15 score, but you also need to get up into the 7s. How are you going to do that? I guess we can imagine atomic theory, and that gets you into the 7s. And then if it's not yellow, then on the next turn you can perspective. But if you don't have atomic theory and you don't have vaccination, is there anything else that would help? I don't think so. Democracy is not going to help. Classification is not going to help. Metric system is not going to help. Okay, encyclopedia. It is vaccination. Okay, and then vaccinate. You only did that because you had to vaccinate. And then what are you even hoping for coming out with the 6s? Like machine tools is really bad for you. Atomic theory is pretty bad. I guess not machine tools, right? Like that's really because with Colgon, it's a little harder for Block to score. Emancipation is not online, and yeah, nothing else is online either. So okay, this is actually could be effective in the near term. We don't know what those 3s or that 5 are. Trying to think if there's anything that would be useful there. Ooh, canning is another one that you did not want to see there. Yeah, woof. What does that look like? That looks like 4 score, and then it reveals pottery. So then you can even start potting for 3 if you want. I guess that's not good enough. It's actually probably fine for thwol because with canning, it's just not it's not fast enough. It's only 4 points. I think I was like imagining a steam engine or something. 4 points and then sort of peters out. So you could spend your entire turn getting to 35, but then thwol can attack again and probably do more damage. Emancipation also isn't very good. Still needs the 7 as well, 7 tech as well. But thwol now is very, very far um, from where he would need to be in score, and he had to cover over perspective to get there. Okay, so Block melds astronomy. That's another option. Like try to get there with astronomy. Okay, and now like at this point, that is a red 7. We haven't seen any blue 7s, and so meld explosives and then astronomy again. That could be gained. So I feel like this means thwol really needs, that doesn't need to, but it's very dangerous to not have a red 6 melded. So now we're in this sort of chaotic late game, and basically having those 5 achievements lets Block play a lot more loosely because all he needs is one opportunity. And thwol needs to be playing like super defensively and with like maximum risk to have any chance to stay in it. Maybe he needs to vaccinate again, just like hope that astronomy doesn't come up with a hit. Yeah, because canning now is a lot of points. I mean, it wouldn't win the game because then Block wouldn't have a 7, but that makes it harder and harder and harder for vaccination to be effective. And now vaccination is causing 7s to be melded, so it's really like sort of like sudden death for that 35 score. Yeah, like thwol could like easily achieve with the metric system, but doesn't have time for something like that. What is it? Uh, Wonder. Okay, does use vaccination. Well, that's dangerous too with astronomy there. Like maybe maybe Block gets a blue 7. It's not actually dangerous with that. With machine tools in hand, thwol can meld the 6 in defense. Ooh, another really really nice role for Block, because now instead of this sort of like maybe shot um, with astronomy, like now lighting is a double threat with the threat of scoring, and even if you didn't have that threat of scoring, there's the separate threat of monument. I mean, I guess like what is it? What is the attempt? Maybe electricity? Does that even do it? No, huh, doesn't do it that way. Huh. I think I would have done electricity. Yeah, I mean, I guess lighting is not like immediate. But now vaccination is covered up. This really looks like Block has it. I don't think he has it this turn, but really looks like he has it in general. I guess what I was saying about Monument doesn't completely make sense because THL would be the one who would be able to get Monument if that was the if he doubled augmented lighting, if he had another, even if Block had another card. So he says curtains, but is it really curtains? Like what is Block going to do? He needs to be set up to score enough. Like he's going to need 12, and he can't give THWall a lot of scoring options. I guess THWall has nothing on Tableau that lets him score. So maybe yeah, just do lighting and it's fine. Block doesn't see a win. Yeah, I don't see a win this turn, but I think next turn. Oh, I guess you can't do lighting because THWol gets 20 more than 21, which is what he would normally get, gets 23. No, no, that's not that doesn't matter. Yeah, it's fine. Like let him get 23 if you want, and then you get either 14 or 15, and there's no longer a way to attack your score. There's no longer a way for THWol to score. What's he gonna get? What's he gonna do? I guess he electricities and then vaccinate. I don't think that's enough, right? Because then you've got like worst case 14 and and 10 is 24, and then you can lighting again and you'll get another 14, and that is going to be enough because he's only Tetro's only going to be able to vaccinate once, even if he even if, yeah, he's only going to be able to vaccinate once next round at most. Yeah, I think this is still over. Is there anything that Tetro could have in hand to disrupt this? Six. Can't really think of anything. Vaccination is the major six to disrupt score. Yeah, I think Tetro also sees this is a pretty dominant position on block side. Well, that's the line I see. Maybe I'm missing something, but the line I see is lighting. It's fine if TH shares it. Um, and then just do something to kill time. I guess then there's the worry, okay, then if who's got the yeah, you're not your lighting isn't even vulnerable to electricity. So yeah, lighting and then draw or draw and then lighting. Let THL do whatever he wants. He's not going to be able to achieve because he doesn't have a way to get the, from 31 points to 35 points. And he's not going to be able to attack enough. The most he can attack is get rid of those fours. Printing press isn't useful, and yeah, I think it's over if Black wants it to be. If he sees the line, that's my take. Three in hand. Is there anything that in the threes that could do this? I don't think so. No, it doesn't seem. Yeah, and Block does see the line. He's saying he's going to use lighting. We'll see if it's the same line that I saw or a different one. Probably multiple ways. You could like lighting twice and let THWol um, get the achievement if he wants, and let THWol get the 7, and then mathematics and get the 8. Yeah, multiple lines involving lighting. Well, this was an interesting game. It turned out to be one-sided, but it was one-sided in a different direction than what I expected when I came here. So unless something very strange happens or very unexpected happens, then it will be congratulations to blockmonoid and condolences to THWol. And it was an interesting game with some pivotal moments. And let's see let's see it play out. THWol is asking to share or not to share, but I don't think it matters. Okay, I think this is all over but the crying. Each will taking his time deciding what to do. Interesting. THL thinks like the block is going to get monument, but I think THL would want him to get monument here. Wow. I think it's just looking for any outs. Perhaps there's something in hand that changes things from what I understand, but I think it's still over. Okay, and THL does do a big tuck. I guess there is some chance that with encyclopedia you meld something out of these eights. Yeah, I guess it's not quite over because of encyclopedia. Maybe you get one of the things that attacks score, rocketry, let's say, or um, what is it? Mass media. So probably spoke a little too soon. Mm-hmm. Okay, so there's still a little bit of life left here, but it really depends on like what just showed up there in the eights. So I think with that in mind, maybe I guess now Block also has a vision of what those three eights are, and so can like calibrate based on that whether he wants to do it again or just draw an eight or yeah. If you do it again, then THL almost assuredly gets monument and has a bunch of eights. So um, unless you and then what is rocketry is two cards from the score pile. That's not enough. If you encyclopedia and rocketry, but encyclopedia and mass media, get rid of all the eights, that would be big. So if you got mass media, if blockmonoid has mass media and okay, and he has mass media, so then it really is over. Wait, is that true? Does rocketry? Oh no. If thwol can meld rocketry, if he's got rocketry in score, then there's still a shot there, right? Because you get rocketry out and then you attack to get rid of both of the eights, and then lighting isn't enough to get you to 35. But that's really the only angle I see because you can't get to 35. Guess you can you electricity? Does that help? Because block is not at 35. Okay, well he encyclopedia, so he probably has rocketry. Okay, well, I was totally wrong. I thought this game was completely over, and it was not. There were some options, and there is rocketry, and there's the first special achievement, Empire, and oh no, you can only attack once. It's not enough. Oh wow. Oh wow. Yikes. So that brings him to 26, but then by tucking two, that gets him, yeah, it's not enough with that unlucky socialism. Wow. Yeah, that was not the line. I feel like not looking very good, but like that was definitely not the line with I guess you can still electricity. Maybe that's what you gotta do. Mhm. Yeah, because rocketry doesn't help anymore. But if you were gonna do that, you should have just electricity to begin with, right? I guess maybe you want to keep it encyclopedia there. Yeah, no, that's not good enough. Guess THL like lost lost heart or something because it was looking really really tough already. So now it should just be simple lighting and the win. Okay, well, I wrote the obituary a little too soon, but only a little. Congratulations now are truly in order for block and just achieve the seven lighting and achieve the seven. So, as the game draws to its final actions, congratulations again are due to blockmonoid for winning the 225th Deathmatch Billy Weekly, and consolations again due to THL. And we'll watch the last few seconds of the game and then end the stream. Good game to both competitors. Okay, and I will stop the stream. Oops, do not want to give a thumbs down.